Okay, so like I was saying, the 80% of your success is based on your what? Psychology, right? So it's not what you did or what you do to get results. It's why you do it, because your motives, your motivation, your you know impetus to do anything is going to be based on why. Okay, and the psychology also in selling is you show someone who lives in a house, middle-aged married homeowners. Okay, there's a interesting conundrum that like reps get when they're selling. In when the customer says I can't afford it, right? You ever heard that? Yeah. 7 times, right? Doesn't mean you still say you made 3 sales, right? Mm-hmm. But when you hear I can't afford it, when you're 19, right? When you say I can't afford something, psychology, right? When you say I can't afford it, that means I can't put gas in my car. I got a speeding ticket. Crap, my cell phone's about to get shut off because I got to pay my ticket versus pay my cell phone. I can't afford it means there's negative 17 cents in my bank account and I'm about to get hit with a $30 fee, right? So that's what I can't afford it means when you're like 14 to till you like get into the real world, the adult world, right? And the adult world isn't when you're 18. I know you can vote, but the adult world is when you like own a home and have kids, right? And the whatever, post college, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so when you say I can't afford it, I can't afford to go to what do you call it, Seven Peaks, Lagoon. I can't afford to do something like that. Go to the jazz game, okay, concert, whatever, because you can't. It's very easy to you can't. When I am a homeowner and I have 7 kids, or I'm a homeowner and I have 2 kids, I have 2 garages or 2 cars, 2 bathrooms, and like 2 toilets, right? We'll call it, okay, or 2 bedrooms, right? So I have 2 kids, 2 bedrooms, 2 toilets, two cars, right? That's my small, humble little family. Or I have 7 kids, which I'm sure where you showed people Cutco this weekend, there's people with more than 2 kids, 4 to 8 kids, right? So when someone like that says I can't afford Cutco or I can't afford the homemaker, see, when you pay, let me go back to your psychology. When you pay your rent, you paid your whatever it is, $500 or I don't know, right? Probably more than that in your case, right? But it's you're like, all right, I'm out until I get another paycheck. 2 week, if you have like your has another has a job, right? So you're like waiting till that next check to start paying other bills, right? So like that's what it is when you're young, right? And like you pay your rent, you're out, or you do all those other things you pay for, and you're like out till the next check, and you're like out negative 17 cents, can't afford to go to Lagoon, right? Yeah. On the other hand, when a mom or a dad in a family, says I can't afford the homemaker, here's what happens with mom and dad. They pay their mortgage. The average check in the United States or in Utah is over $1,500 for a mortgage. Okay, and even from rent, that makes sense. Okay, so but I know a lot of people whose their mortgage is well over $2,000. Okay, and that's not in the nice, super rich, wealthy areas. I'm talking normal, Utah, Salt Lake Valley, right? It's over $2,000 for the mortgage. But after they pay the mortgage, they've got homeowners insurance, car insurance, health insurance, dental insurance, property. Let's see, wait, health, life. Car, homeowners, dental insurance. Usually like 5 insurance policies. Sometimes they're lumped in together, but that's $1,000 a month. Easy $1,000 for all that. Okay, so it's $1,000 a month for that. It's over $1,500 for their mortgage. That's $2,500. Then they pay phone, internet, cable, water, sewer, trash, electricity, and gas. The average home has 8 utility bills. If there's a security system, there's 9. How many people that are not wealthy have a security system? Fair number. Okay, so there's 8, 9 utilities. Sometimes they're lumped in, phone, internet, water, and sewer. They're lumped together, but it's still about 8 or 9 utilities. That's $1,000 a month, almost, if not over. Okay, so now we're at $3,500. Okay, then you go to, I'm sorry, not 2, I would say 6 grocery trips a month. Okay. 6. Probably well over 4, probably 6, maybe 8, right? So you go that's $1,000 easy. Okay, so now we're at $4,500. That doesn't count soccer. That doesn't count dance. That doesn't count trumpet or band. Doesn't count DECA or student council or fees for the Spanish club, or whatever. Field trips. It doesn't count any extracurricular activities for the 7-year-olds, right? We're talking just barely making the bills. That's $4,500. How many people that live in a home and have kids that do more than just barely pay the bills? They have soccer, they have football, they have cheerleading, right? You're well into the $5,000 a month, right? And that's the average family that you're talking about. If their mortgage is a little lower, it slides it down to $4,000, or maybe slightly less than that. But it's about $4 to $5 grand just to support a family. So when mom and dad say, or a mom and dad, not your mom and dad, but any mom and dad, when they say I can't afford it, what they're doing is they're going to pay their mortgage, they're going to buy their groceries, they're going to pay their insurance, and they're going to pay their bills. And when they say they can't afford it, it doesn't mean they can't afford it. It means what they're doing is they're taking all the money after they've paid their bills. See, they pay their bills and then they have money left over. Whether that money is $200 or $2,000 or $5,000, they're weighing that money left over against $288, whatever the homemaker payment is. Is it $288? $280? Monthly payment on a homemaker is like $288. Yeah. So it's like they're weighing the leftover money. The bills are going to get paid. They're weighing the $2,000, $5,700 left over against $288. And for some customers, statistically, 88%. Remember we said that in training, about 12% buy a homemaker? Yeah. But then 38% buy other sets. 50% don't buy sets, but they still buy a Cutco. So statistically speaking, 88% of the customers, when you ask them to buy the homemaker, they're weighing that leftover money against $288. And when they weigh that leftover money against $288, 88% of them are going to say, I can't afford the homemaker. But if your psychology is wrong, you're like, oh, you can't afford it? Oh, I totally know what you don't say it, but you think, I totally know what you mean because I got a speeding ticket and now my phone's going to get shut off. I hope I make it through this demo with a cell phone because I got to call Phil after the demo, right? You're wondering when your phone's going to get shut off or you have 17 cents left in your bank account. See, the psychology is totally wrong if you're thinking about your budget. Okay. So the budget you need to think about is not yours. It doesn't matter who else's budget it is. It matters it's not your budget. A family living in a home, 2 cars, 2 kids, 2 toilets, 2 bedrooms, they can afford a heck of a lot more than $288 a month. In fact, let's think about it this way. Is there a family in the valley that you've ever met that has a special barbecue once a month? Yes. In December, it's what? Let's say it's not a barbecue, it's a party. So it's Christmas in December. January, it's what? New Year's or President's Day. Yeah. I'm just kidding. Okay, but New Year's or whatever. Martin Luther King Day. And then in February, it's President's Day. I'm joking. It's Valentine's Day. In March, it's what? St. Patrick's. Maybe, right? St. Patrick. If they're Irish, which, they want to get kissed, they're Irish, right? In April, it's, it could be, Easter, right? There you go. In May, it's what? Mother's Day or Cinco de Mayo, right? And that's big, Cinco de Mayo for certain customers, right? In June, it's Father's Day. May's Mother's Day. June is Father's Day. What's July? Duh, right? 4th of July. Or in Utah, Pioneer Day. And then August is back to school, blah, blah, blah. September, kind of back to school. October, you're into Halloween. And November, you're in Thanksgiving. That counts 0 birthdays, 0 anniversaries. Don't tell me they can't afford. And by the way, how much is one special party a month? Couple hundred. So if you said to a customer, this month you've got July 4th and 24th of July, can you afford it? They're like, no, we can't celebrate both of them. They're going to spend a couple $100 on fireworks and more hamburgers. Yeah. So don't tell me they can't afford $288 a month. Now, I'm not saying you go to your customer and say, my manager said you can afford it because you have 2 kids and 2 bathrooms, right? You can't say that. But do you notice that I'm not telling you to say that? Yeah. I'm saying your psychology has to change. Yes. And your psychology is get out of your budget, stop trying to relate to them. Okay. And actually get into the budget of, holy crap, they can afford it. And it doesn't matter what you say, it matters what? 80% of your success is what's in here. What I tell you, 88% of them are going to say, I can't afford the homemaker. So when you're dropping down, see, the best reps know that as they're dropping down, they're getting closer to the sale. If you want to jot it down, go ahead. The best reps know that as they're dropping down, they're getting closer to the sale. So it's actually like exciting to drop down. Because they're like, oh, now we're getting more comfortable. You tracking? Oh, sweet, we can go to the galley where it's going to be closer to the value price. You know, dropping down is the service. See, if you're thinking about, oh, I'm going to try and get them to buy a galley, I'm going to twist their arm and make them buy a starter set. You're thinking in whose head? That's bad. You're thinking about your sale, your paycheck, or you're thinking, oh, I'm nervous. I don't want to make them feel pressure. I don't want to be pushy. Who are you thinking about? Yourself. Isn't that why salespeople get a bad reputation?
Yeah.
Because they're thinking about themselves, because they're either needy or greedy. Salespeople, stereotypically, needy or greedy. That's not the way you want to think. That's bad, right? Because you're thinking about you. As you're dropping down, the way I define dropping down is the service of showing options to find the right combination of price value. What was it? You learned this on day 2 of training. Price value, right? There's like and when the value goes ding, you sold.
Yes.
Right? When the homemaker's too much, the price is too heavy, the value's not quite there. But as you're dropping down, you're getting the price to be lighter, so you're bringing this up, and then the value's still there. So that's why you got to build up. If you want to jot this down, build up as you drop down. 88% of your customers say I can't afford the homemaker. And gosh, even the 12% that do buy homemakers, they still say they can't afford the homemaker for a minute. And then they think about it a little longer with those knee-jerk reactions, and guess what? They go ahead and get the homemaker. They think about it a little bit, and then they buy it, right? But 88% of your customers don't buy the homemaker. So psychology is important here. As you're dropping down, you're not doing something to them or on them or at them. You're not doing something to them, on them, at them. You're doing something with them and for them. With them, for them. You're like, hey, no problem. We have 2 smaller sets called the galley set. And these sets are awesome because you still get, and you pull up open the blue book, right? And remember, the blue book, the picture looks the same. The homemaker and the galley look exactly the same, okay, to a customer. Now, to you and me, you're like, oh, that looks like a bunch of knives in a block, but it's the homemaker, right? Well, let me just tell you, those look the exact same. It's a bunch of knives with if I set up a galley and a homemaker, you've been in training 3 days and now a half a day, if I set a galley and a homie next to each other, you'd be like, wait, which one is that? And you've worked here for 3 days. Do you think a customer understands the difference between this and this?
No.
Absolutely not. So the picture is scary. The picture's like, oh, another option, whatever, you're going to try and make me buy that. So when you show the galley, like I said, you got to build up as you drop down. And you wrote that down, right? So you say, Miss Jo, how do you build it up? In this set, you still, look at my face, look at my eyeballs, you still get the paring knife, which you need. And you still get the trimmer for tomatoes and everything else. That's this knife we've sold the most since 1949. Okay, you get the spatula spreader with 17 kids. You're going to make sandwiches forever and English, have bagels and cream cheese. And you got your meat knife, you got your serving piece, you got your chopping knife, you got your bread knife. And you still get the 6 table knives. And you get a block, and you get a cutting board. And then the next sentence. So it's a few less knives for a lot less money. Now, how do you feel about the galley? You work here. How do you feel about the galley? Did I just sell you a galley? I just sold you a galley. I'm like, it's a few less knives for a lot less money. And they're like, oh. So remember, you don't just like, oh, there's also a galley set. It has this, 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 this. You got to sell it. Psychology. This is a way better deal for the customer if they didn't buy a homie. Because we're solving that price value. It was too much on the homie, right? That's on the teeter-totter, right? Too much. And I go, oh, the galley, few less knives, a lot less money. They're like, bing. Oh, that's awesome. I still get all that. Yeah, you miss a carving set, which you won't, every week, every day, carve a turkey.
Yeah.
And you miss a carving butcher knife, and you could probably make it with 6 table knives. I mean, your 2-year-old and 6-year-old don't use table knives yet, do they yet? And they're like, no. I say, yep. So this set's a lot more affordable. And instead of being $1,326 like the homemaker, right? That set is only $957, right? And I'm using my manual. Let's pretend, you know what I mean? It's only $957, or in other words, $208 today. And then you write it down on the paper. Instead of $1,326, $288, you're like, galley plus 6, $957, or $208 today. And they're like, what? Is it 208? Yeah, 208. How does that sound? Oh, and if you get it today, I can still, and I flip back, if you get that today, I can still give you the scissors or the tools or the entertainer pack. I just let it simmer for a second. They're like, whoa, right? And I'm like, so how does that sound? They're like, honey, that's $80 less a month. That's $208. That's $7 a day. Right. Yeah, you still get the free stuff. You know, that's $7 a day. Like a homemaker, $288 is like $9.50 a day. Right, for a month. Yeah. A galley is $7 a day. That's affordable, isn't it? Gosh, I know a lot of poor college kids that can afford $7 a day because they vape, drink coffee, and energy drinks. Right? You know, they can afford $7. Okay, or eat an Apollo burger. Okay, so they can afford it. And by the way, that's the galley. And then you go check it out. If they don't quite, I'm jumping ahead. So if they don't get the homie or the galley, now you're like, okay, we got 8 starter sets. Now remember, I don't try to sell them all of the starter sets. They're all about the same amount of money. They're all about 4 or 5 pieces. They all get free scissors. They all have a block or a tray. They all have a cutting board. So, whatever one you choose, right? But you don't choose. Actually, let me say it this way. You actually do choose it. When you show the starters, what you want to do is you want to say, all right, I was in this demo. I was paying attention. She really loves the spatula. She really loves the chopping knife. Those are 2 must-haves. So I'm going to sell her off the sets that don't have those. And I'm going to say, this is probably your set. Because it has. So I don't try to sell 8 sets. Okay. I try to sell 1. Okay. And the only one I want to sell them, notice my motive is not to do it on them, to them, at them. I'm doing it with them, for them. I'm finding the right combination. Where, hey, this set, you get your favorite chopping knife right there, and you get your spatula spreader. And you know what? You get the paring knife, like, duh, you don't need that one. Everyone's going to use that one. And you get your small carving set for most occasions. You'll be great with this. Do a steak or something on the barbecue, boom, you got it. You get your chicken breasts, you got those things for the barbecue, you get your mid-sized utility knife, you got a block, comes with 5 table knives and a cutting board. So that's the essentials, or the essentials plus 5, probably with the plus 5 with you and the 2 kids, right? Now this one, you do get your spatula, you don't get your chopper. So the studio set, you get your paring knife, trimmer, petite carver, and the spatula, but you don't get that chopping knife. And it comes with 0 or 4 table knives. I'm going to say that's probably not your set. Whichever one works for you, though. And then you get the Space Saver. This has your chopper, but not your spatula. It's kind of an interesting set because it does hang on a wall, goes in the drawer, sets on the counter. Any of those options. But it has this, these couple pieces, but you missed that spatula. It has 2 paring knives instead of a spatula. Now, if you do handle the trays okay, you do get the all-knife set. Now, this one does have your chopper. It does have your small carving knife. It has your spatula. It does have your trimmer. It does have your paring knife. Okay? So that one would work if you like the trays. No table knives. It does come with a sharpener because there's a sharpener in the picture. It does come with a sharpener. And it has a tray, and all sets come with a cutting board. Honestly, this one probably isn't your set, okay, Evangeline, because it has none of your favorites. It doesn't have your spatula or your chopper. It has a bread knife, small carver, and then the trimmer and the petite carver, or a trimmer and the paring knife. And then the gourmet set, unless you're totally cooking Asian or island style, I would say your gourmet set probably isn't your set. It does have 2 choppers, but it doesn't have the sandwich knife, and it has a couple other ones. But from what I showed you here, am I still tracking that you kind of like the all-knife set? Or do you like the one with the table knives? Without the table. Oh, you without? So the essentials, basic, or the all-knife set? You tell me. So it's basically trays or blocks. You like the all-knife set? Okay, great. All right, well, that one, the all-knife set, well, yeah. Oh, That's way better. Instead of being like over $1,000, the all knife set is only $519. 5 payments after tax is only $114. Oh, and if this set, you can still get the scissors. So pick up my scissors. You still get these for free. Okay, so it's only $114 a month, and then I write it down. So what do I have written on the notebook? I have the 1326, 288, and then I have 957, 208, goes 288, 208, and now I'm like $114. They're like, that's a third almost, almost like barely over a third of what the homemaker was. And I'm like, so should we go ahead and do that? Okay. And I'm literally going to say, so should we go ahead and do that? Notice I ask, not at them, to them, on them. I'm like, so should we go ahead and do that? I'm doing it what? With them and for them. This set, way more affordable. You still get 5 pieces. You still get a cutting board. You still get the sharpener. You still get a tray. Hang it on the wall. Set it in the drawer. Right? And it's your favorite 5 pieces. And you still get the scissors. And and what happened to that value? Right? Boom. Okay? Because I'm getting excited about selling. See, a lot of new reps are like, oh, you can't afford it. I know. I can't even afford to pay attention. I got no money. You know what I mean? Like, they're relating in their own mind. But if you're relating with them confidently that this set's better, rebuilding the value, getting excited, mentality, I'm doing it for them, with them, this is going to be great. They're saying, I don't like green eggs and ham. I don't like green eggs and ham. I don't like green eggs and ham. You're like, try it. And they're like, oh, I'll try. Ooh, I do like green eggs and ham. Do you know the story? Just making sure. Okay. But now you just sold the starter set. And then the last thing I'll teach you is when you go to that what we used to call the Cutco game, dating myself here, but you go to that next option, you say, hey, no problem. We have some really awesome customizing options. And in the customizing options, what you can actually do is pick your favorite 5 pieces. So I just want to kind of show you some options here. And I'm going to start off with one of our specials where you can actually select your favorite pieces. And we still have some great free stuff. And so you select a like list from this, right? And you have her pick her favorite. The way we have it in the manual is what? 5. And then if 5 doesn't work, then it's either 4 or 3. And then if neither of those work, then it goes to 2. Pick 2, get the 1 little accessory for free, ice cream scoop, right? But however you do, sometimes you get a like list that's 7 items now, right? They might get 12 items. Of course, until you learn what I'm about to teach you in the rest of this meeting, you're gonna want to, you'll call in for deals. When there's like a 7, 10, 12 item like list, it's always like, ooh, I got to hook this up. Or they're upgrading. Remember, 50% should buy what? I'm drawing back a little bit.
50% should buy
sets.
A set. Okay.
A chunk of them buy what? Homies. The other 38% buy
regular
all the other sets combined. And then 50% buy what? Not sets. We won't call them single items because that doesn't mean there's only one item. Okay? Not sets. Okay. Not sets means anything that isn't a set. It might mean $1,000 worth of Cutco, but it's not a set. Okay. Which is like an upgrade.
It's
so
like
yes, exactly. The reason why 50%, there's 2 reasons why 50% buys not sets. The first reason why people buy not sets is because none of the sets worked. Like the homie, the galley, the starters, none of them were what they liked best. Make sense? The other reason why people buy not sets is because they already have Cutco. And when they already have Cutco, it should be like a slam dunk, you're making a sale 90% of the time. Okay? If they already have Cutco, it's like selling an Apple product to anyone who owns an Apple product. I mean, we make fun of them. Apple owners, right? iPhones, Apple Watch, EarPods, their laptops. I mean, they got, Yeah. I mean, I literally stalked people to get a T-shirt from Apple. You know what I mean? Because you can't get them from the store because they don't. Then they look like you work in the store. So I had a friend who moved to San Jose and he worked, and I'm like, you got to send me a shirt. He's like, really? I'm like, yes, I got to have an Apple shirt. I mean, I'm the biggest zombie of all of them, right? And so people, but once they're sold on Nike, once they're sold on Cutco, once they're sold on, whatever brand of makeup it is, what do? You have a certain type of makeup you use. What do?
Buy more.
You keep buying more of it because you like it. The pattern, the shade is good. Their whatever shade is good for you, right? The eyeliners and all that stuff, right? You stay with that brand, right? So once people have Cutco, it should be a done deal, slam dunk. They buy more Cutco. So remember, 50% buying not sets because you wind up dropping down past the set, or 50% buying not sets because they already own Cutco and you got to do that like list. And that's why the like list is so valuable.
Yeah,
Okay.
everyone I sold to this weekend owned Cutco already. That's why they did the small.
How many of the people you showed to that didn't buy Cutco from you already had Cutco?
All of them. Everyone had Cutco that I showed this weekend.
Okay, so that's it. The reason why you didn't have a sale on the rest of them, remember I just said 90%, you're like, that's not what I got. I got like 45%, right? Or whatever. The reason why I just told you should have double that is because how skilled were you at the like list this weekend?
I sold mainly on my like list, not on any sets.
But what if you would have been a little more skilled at the like list?
Probably would have gotten bigger.
You would have sold your average order would have been 300, and you would have sold 6 out of 7. Very, very confidently. I have no doubt that that's what would have happened if you had a little more skill on the like list, and if you were a little more familiar with how to make good deals, and if you would have called a little more in the moment.
Okay.
And that's what the bonus points rule that we're about to go over does for you.
Okay.
That's the content for the next little 20, 30 minutes that we have left.
Okay.
For me to teach you how to make a deal when you're like, how do I make a deal? In other words, if it's not a 5-item like list, 4-item, 3-item, or 2-item, you're like, I don't know. What if they want a fishing knife, a cleaver, 2 table knives, and a cutting board? You're like, that's nothing like we practice in day 3 of training or day 2 of training, right? In other words, when you have to wind up customizing situations because they already have Cutco, it takes a little practice. And that's why we have advanced training as quick as possible after day 3. Got it? So we're going to jump into the bonus points rule and the secret weapon. Okay, so I'm going to rock your world.